Yeah. Hoorah! Hoorah! Spartan Warriors. So, how are your New Year's resolutions so far? Day 4 in. Day 4 in, and I bet there's some of you who already missed quite a few of them, or doing quite a few of them. Maybe it's eating right. There's the excuse, well, I'll wait until the holidays are over because, there's all this apple pie laying around and I want to eat it before, got to throw it out, or going to the gym or whatever it is. It's the excuses that you come up with that you put things off, and before you know it, the resolutions that you made are just that, resolutions, and nothing ever happens. So, so most of us are probably still doing them, but there's I'm sure there's a small percentage that aren't. Or maybe you're doing it really hard and it's only been, 4 days, and you're expecting to get some crazy results and it's not happening. So I will tell you this, it takes time. We got to have patience, right? You don't start working out and become Arnold Schwarzenegger in a month. It takes dedication. We talked about that, right? Vision, commitment, and consistency, right? So you need those. But, in the grand scheme of things, God's delays are not God's denials. God put these things in our head. It doesn't mean they're coming when we want them to come. They come on His time. So, well, even in the Bible, there's so many examples of, people doing certain things and having to wait on God. And it's hard. When you're waiting on God and you're praying and you're thinking, well, maybe He's not listening to me and nothing's really changed and I'm working hard, and just keep working. Keep working. It's a test. Test your faith. Test your trust in God. You got to trust, right? So keep the faith in God, and eventually we'll get there, but you cannot sway from the jobs that you were meant to do, right? So even Noah know how to build an ark, right? Go to build an ark, and you're going to be able to save your family and start a new world and save your people, and all the good things will come back. But it didn't rain for 120 years. Well, that's a little bit hard for us these days to imagine, but, back then people lived to like 600-700 years. It was crazy. So you can imagine building this ark and everybody's making fun of you, and it doesn't rain for 120 years. But then when it does, He saves everything. Right. So God also told Abraham that he'd be the father of a great nation, but he didn't have his first child till he was 99 years old. Only God can pull that off. All right? And He told Moses that he would lead his people from Egypt, a place that they were enslaved for over 450 years. So what does God do? He sends them into the desert for 40 years before He comes back and does what He has to take care of, right? So that's waiting, man. Waiting on God is difficult. He gave Joseph this dream, right, that he was going to save his family, save his people from famine. But then, he gets sold into slavery. He gets imprisoned for, I don't remember how many years. And finally, the wave of His hand, circumstances change, and Joseph becomes second in command of all of Egypt. And then even Jesus, last example. Even Jesus had to wait 30 years as a carpenter before He started His world-changing ministry. So, all these examples are there that we just need to wait. And how long? Who knows how long? But we still got to do the work. We got to work as we're working for Jesus, because we're not doing it for anybody else. Working for Jesus, working for God. We're not working for man or working for ourselves. And we got to press on until that time comes. And it'll come. So, God's delays are not God's denials. Right? And I'm going to keep mentioning this throughout the year to keep everybody back on track. You know, we all fall off the wagon. We all get like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. But maybe get a little bit of reminders. You keep going over the goals and resolutions that you wrote down every day. Just read them and make sure you're staying on track. Keep yourself accountable. All right? So, let's get rolling. Stay on track. Remember, warriors, no fears, no excuses. Let's make that a resolution. This year we will have no excuses. And if we have no excuses, we don't have any limitations. So God bless. Most of all, as always, be a blessing to someone else. Till next time.